So a few days after Juan Soto was traded to the Yankees and Shohei Ohtani signed with the Dodgers, the Yankees and the Dodgers just made a trade with each other. We also have a few updates like the Guardians. They just brought back a former fan favorite. I am joking. They brought back Austin Hedges, and it feels like I'm being punked. Also, Cody Bellinger might be heading to the Toronto Blue Jays, so there's a lot to talk about today. Now, before we talk about the Blue Jays and their quest for Cody Bellinger, look at this photo right here. People are leaving flowers next to Dylan Bundy's tile in front of Angel Stadium. Obviously, I'm joking. They're leaving in front of Shohei Ohtani's tile. And not only that, but the Angels, as soon as it was announced that Shohei was going to the Dodgers for $700 million, they got a machine and they started tearing down his banner like it was LeBron back when he went to the Heat way back in the day. I mean, it was pretty quick. I was very much in the minority of people that said, this is way too soon. Ohtani, he meant so much to the franchise. At least leave the banner up for the rest of the night and then take it down the following day. But I can see when people are saying, he's not on the team and he went to a crosstown rival. We're not going to leave his banner up. All right, so let's talk about a trade that went down. Christian Bethancourt, a backup catcher for the Guardians, he's been traded to the Marlins for straight up cash. CC, cash considerations. And you might be asking, how does that make any sense? You have Bo Naylor, but you do need a backup catcher. You didn't get anyone in return. They used that extra money for Austin freaking Hedges. Now, Christian Bethancourt is not Mike Piazza or anything like that, but last year he had 11 home runs and a 74 OPS plus, which are not impressive numbers. But Austin Hedges, he had 1 home run and a 27 OPS plus. Austin Hedges for his career has a 55 OPS plus and a 189 batting average. He is basically the worst hitter in professional baseball history. And I'll even go as far to say that he might be the worst hitter ever. I'm talking Little League, I'm talking T-ball. Austin Hedges, he is completely useless. Now, in 2017 and 2018 with the Padres, he did have 18 home runs and then 14 home runs, but ever since that point, again, he's been horrific. And to me, I'm just praying that this does not mean the Guardians are going to try and big brain this situation between him and Bo Naylor and try and platoon Bo Naylor, because for the final 28 games of the season, Bo Naylor hit .321 with a whopping 1113 OPS with 7 home runs and 16 walks in 28 games. If he does not play every single game, if they platoon Bo Naylor for Austin Hedges, I am giving myself the opportunity to detach myself from the Cleveland Guardians. I will not support this team if they play Austin Hedges in a platoon role with Bo Naylor. I will not support a franchise that is that stupid. The only thing that I can think of is that Bo Naylor is going to be playing every single day, and that Austin Hedges, he's a great clubhouse guy. He left Cleveland and then they got worse. He went to the Rangers, they won the World Series. And with Terry Francona leaving the Guardians in retirement, maybe Austin Hedges is simply going to be a clubhouse guy. Hopefully that's the case, because again, he's terrible. Now, before we talk about the trade between the Dodgers and the Yankees, I do want to talk about this post right here. So Cody Bellinger's girlfriend, she was in Toronto, and of course, if we're going to be stalking planes and hoping that Ohtani's in a metal tube 40,000 feet up and that he's going to be walking out in Toronto, obviously Cody Bellinger's girlfriend posting an Instagram story that she's in Toronto, everyone's going to lose their minds over that. But it does kind of make sense considering the Blue Jays do have a hole in center field, because we all kind of are just assuming that Kevin Kiermaier, he's not going to come back. The Blue Jays reportedly offered Ohtani $600+ million. It was very competitive to what the Dodgers offered, so they have money to spend. They're willing to spend it, and Cody Bellinger, he would fit in perfectly with that lineup and that defense, because Dalton Varsho, Cody Bellinger, that's sick defensively. So because we just talked about a former Dodger and Cody Bellinger, let's talk about that trade between the Dodgers and the Yankees. So the Yankees, I'm not sure if they're going to bring back Wandy Peralta, because he is in fact a free agent, but if they lose him, that's okay. They got the Wandy replacement in Victor Gonzalez, who actually won a game in the World Series a few years ago. He was really good. So the Yankees not only are getting lefty Victor Gonzalez, but they're also getting a minor league prospect in Jorbit Vivas, and not gonna lie, he's pretty good. Whereas the Dodgers, they're only getting one player, Trey Sweeney. I believe that Trey Sweeney was the 8th overall prospect for the Yankees, but let's talk about Victor Gonzalez and Jorbit Vivas first, because the only reason why the Dodgers made this trade is that they could clear space to add Ohtani to the 40-man roster. Victor Gonzalez did take a step back in 2023. He had a 4 ERA, but he's 28 years old, and if we take a look at his stats versus righties, he's actually better against righties, which is not something that you see very often from a left-handed relief pitcher. He held righties to a 191 batting average, a 64 OPS plus. I mean, that's insane. Against lefties, it still was pretty good. He held them to an 81 OPS plus, but against righties, he had a 191 batting average, and against lefties, it was 260, so kind of a reverse split, which you don't see very often with relievers. The other interesting piece going back to the Yankees is this 22-year-old infielder slash outfielder Jorbit Vivas, and this guy actually was pretty good. This dude, if anything, he takes his walks. He had 69 walks to 71 strikeouts in 135 games between AA and AAA. He made AAA at 21 going on 22 years old. Now, he only played 26 games in AAA, but at AA, he had 23 doubles, 12 home runs, and 21 stolen bases with a pretty impressive 391 on base percentage. Like, again, he's going to take his walks. He's going to steal bases. Who did they have to give up to get this dude? So many Yankees fans that I know personally were big on Trey Sweeney, and he is now a member of the LA Dodgers. And if you guys don't remember, Trey Sweeney, he was the 20th overall pick back in 2021. But the thing is, he put up similar stats with Jorbit Vivas, the guy that the Yankees just got with Victor Gonzalez. Trey Sweeney in AA, he had 20 doubles, 13 home runs, 20 stolen bases, and a 367 on base percentage. So he's going to strike out more. He doesn't take as many walks, but in terms of their skill set, they're pretty similar. So again, if the Yankees do not bring back Wandy Peralta, they insert Victor Gonzalez into that bullpen. They get Jorbit Vivas, who is pretty similar to Trey Sweeney. I mean, Brian Cashman, honestly, he's been cooking. Now, I'm not saying that Jorbit Vivas is going to be better than Trey Sweeney. If I had to put my money on who's going to have the higher ceiling, if they both end up making Major League Baseball, I'm going to put my money on Trey Sweeney. He's really good. Now, again, the only reason why Brian Cashman could pull off this trade is the fact that the Dodgers, they needed to clear a few roster spots so Ohtani, he could actually officially sign. But to get a 2-for-1 trade with Victor Gonzalez and Jorbit Vivas for Trey Sweeney, I know Trey Sweeney, he's really cool. He's got a nice swing. He's a nice kid. He's a first rounder, but I feel like that's a solid return, and now you save money on not having to give it to Wandy Peralta, who's actually pretty good as well. I think that Wandy Peralta is a perfect fit in New York, and he's not going to be that expensive. So if you guys made it to this far in the video, I want to reward you guys. Put all of your money on the Kansas City Royals because they just signed Will Smith, and please don't actually do that. It's a meme because Will Smith, he has won 3 consecutive World Series. Every single team that he ends up on, they win the chip. But for me, the Royals, they did this with the Aroldis Chapman. They signed guys. They hope that they overperform, and then they can flip them for a prospect or two at the deadline. Because I think that we can all kind of universally agree that Will Smith, he's not going to be with the Royals after August. He's going to be on a playoff contender, and that team might win the World Series as well. And then one more final thing, Andrew Chafin, he is going back to the Tigers. And if I remember correctly, Andrew Chafin, he was pretty good back in the day with the Tigers before he kind of moved on to Arizona, where he wasn't very good. In 2022 with the Tigers, Andrew Chafin had a 2.8 ERA and 67 strikeouts and 57 innings. He went to the Diamondbacks. He got traded because he was so bad. He had a 4 ERA despite the strikeouts being insane. He was traded to the Brewers, where he got lit up like a Christmas tree. He had a 5.8 ERA and a 7.4 strikeouts per 9 in the second half. He was batting practice as a relief pitcher. So that does it for today's recap. Let me know in the comments, what do you make of Cody Bellinger possibly going to the Blue Jays? What do you make of Austin Hedges going to the Guardians to replace Christian Bethancourt as the backup catcher? The trade between the Dodgers and the Yankees, do you like it? Do you think that Trey Sweeney is going to be a future superstar? Let me know. I want to see some comments down below. Thanks for watching.